What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Mike's Tool Shed. On this episode, a little bit of update on my ever-ending quest to find the perfect electrician's Allen socket set. If you remember, if you saw my toolbox tour, I showed you guys this. This is my go-to take to work. Brand new when I'm doing brand new construction and we're doing a brand new service, I always bring this set. This is a cheap ass Nico Amazon kit. I think it's like 15 bucks. And right here, half inch, 7/16, 3/8, 5/16. Not so much the 9/32, but I have used it. And all the way up to this 9/16 are all sizes that I use to tighten down, to terminate larger wires into bigger equipment. I mean, like 500s, 350s, 250s, depending on the manufacturer and the type of lug that it is, and I don't know where they pick the specs for, but I've used all of these sizes on the bottom here. But a lot of times you can't get into a breaker because the lug is recessed in there where you would need something like this. And I know a lot of guys that carry 4 or 5 of these, and they usually end up putting channel locks or something on them to get them all the way tight, because you can't get enough torque with just grabbing the T-handle. You could if you could stick this end in, but then again, you have the same problem. It's only that long. So you need to use this end, and you're not getting enough torque. So I always like to have the Allen sockets. My problem was that these are all too short. So in the comment, when I mentioned that, I asked if anybody knew of a company that made longer versions of these Allen sockets. And in the comments, the whole Bondhus, try Bondhus. And then a couple people said Proto. I didn't really look into them. I went right to Bondhus. And I went on their website, and I was pretty impressed. I mean, they seem like the go-to people for American-made Allen or Hex anything. T-handles, sockets, bits, and that's what I ended up getting. But what I was looking for is they did have a kit that was close to what I needed. It just didn't include 7/16. So I sent him an email. I said, I'm working on a lot of square D switchgear and Siemens and Cutler hammer. Why is it that you don't make a long 7/16 Allen socket? And whoever emailed me back said, we don't actually make the socket in one piece, but we do make a bit in 7/16. And I said, well, I'd be really interested in trying that. I've never bought anything from your company before. But I'm not really familiar with the bits, and that's really all they are. They're just little sticks of Allen key, only you're meant to put it in a socket. So the lady was nice enough. She said, well, I can send you a sample if you'd like. 7/16. So I said, hell yeah. So she sent me this. So in preparation, I bought this. I just typed in 7/16 socket on Amazon. Of course, Tecton was the first thing that came up. So I got this Tecton 7/16, and it was my stupid fault because I got a 1/4-inch drive. Did not mean to do that. I meant to get 3/8, but I was kind of wasn't really paying attention. I was kind of in a hurry, and it was only like $2, so I was like, oh yeah, okay. So I'll get that. Make sure I have that before this comes. Well, when I got it, first impression is I know it's just a little stick. It's a little stick of steel, but it feels and looks quality. It's there's no imperfections in it really at all. There's some little scratches. I've been playing with it, but it has the name and the size and everything written on the side pretty good. It just I can't really describe it. It feels like it's well made, and I think it is. I haven't put any torque to them, but I don't even need anything that well made because all they're going into is aluminum lugs. These are never going to see steel. They're all aluminum lugs. So even this cheap ass, $15 set has lasted me 5-6 years without any problems. Except I did break the little tiniest one, 5/64 or 5/64. I don't even remember what the fuck I was using that on, but it snapped right off. I probably was putting way too much torque on it. It's cheap metal. I don't know. The edges seem finer. The side finish is finer. It's got less of a chamfer on it than these, which is, I guess that's a good thing. It's more contact in the lug. Some of the lugs are kind of shallow, or some of the lugs are the straight through hollow ones. We use these for our pulling wire, we use these things called finger lugs, and it basically has a really shallow little lug in it. It's a hole, it's a shaft, like that, and it's got 2 lugs on either side, kind of staggered. So you strip your wire out, put the wire down into the shaft, and then you tighten this lug, tighten this lug, and then you hook that thing to a piece of wire and pull it through. So this might not fit in there quite well. Other than that, everything that this thing is going to see is aluminum. And I've never seen the bits before and never had one, but here's the interesting feature of these. They have little plastic, I don't know what kind of plastic this is, it must be really hard. These little tits, these little nipples that stick out the side, so you can press it into a socket, and you're not going to damage the socket. You're not going to damage these little plastic bits because I've already put this in here and taken it back out several times, and it holds just as tight every time. But I can show you, this is something you could do on the job, and I kind of like the idea of this better because you can have your socket set, and your Allen bits, and you don't need your socket set and your Allen sockets. So, you know, I'm going to be carrying all these sockets anyway. What's the point in having 2 sets of sockets, basically, when I can minimalize everything by just having the bits? So you take this, these little nips, these little nipples, they're only on 2 sides, and you can see both of them right there. So they're not on opposite sides. So they wedge this up to one side of the socket, and it doesn't take much. There you go. 3-4 hits, and that bitch is in there. I don't see this getting stuck in a lug so tightly that this is going to come apart. But then to get it back out is just as easy. You just hold it with something, give it a couple taps, and it comes right out. It's a really nice system. Like, I'm really kind of excited to actually use this. It sucks because I just finished putting together I believe it was a 4,000 amp switch gear with it's a condo building, 2 sets of meter stacks, generator power, automatic transfer, 2 HVAC panels for the building, a general lighting panel. You know, I could have used the shit out of this on that job, but I kind of suffered with some less than adequate tools for that. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna try this out, and I'm going to try to piece together the ultimate electrician's Allen socket set, which will basically be, and I might get all new ones of these 5 sizes down here, because all I need is these, and then these in longer versions. I just don't know if this one is long enough, because it is longer, but it is not. That's the difference. And I don't know if that's going to make the difference. I got to see if they make these in different sizes. So, first impression of these, I have not used them yet. They're going to be plenty good enough for what I do. Using them in aluminum lugs, aluminum fasteners, this is going to last forever. And I like the idea of not having basically 2 sets of sockets where I can just kind of, all right, I'm terminating wires for 4 days. I can go ahead and press these in to my sockets and go about, you know, landing all the wires. So that's it. Bondhus, so far, I give them the thumbs up, at least for the variety of the stuff that they offer, and I like the idea of the bits. I think that's about it. Also, I got my bike back. It hasn't been at my parents' house for a year and a half. When I moved, I just kind of said, fuck it, I'll get it later, And I've been so busy with the house, I just never got it. And this poor bitch hasn't been turned on in probably 4 or 5 years. It's got varnish in the gas tank. It does not smell good, but it's, where's the, it doesn't even fucking say on there anymore. That's a Honda too, though. They're both Hondas. This beast right here, this has a top speed of 91 miles per hour. Plenty fast enough to kill yourself. It was a perfect starter bike. I've been ready to move up from that. I think that bike's a 2012, and I've been ready to get a new one for probably the past 3 years now, so. Awesome bike. They make it in a 300 now, but I learned everything I needed to learn on it. I can handle the shit out of it. It is really fun, and it almost at certain times is more fun than a 600 or a 1000. you know, minus the you know, the go when you twist the throttle, but the handling is amazing. I can out-handle, I can pull on any of my friends in a turn. I can just lean that thing over more, and it just handles so much better. But it's time for an upgrade. So that thing might be for sale soon, and I might do a video on getting the scooter running. So that's it. Thanks for watching.